Yeah, well, I suppose if you look at the national prices, they're like in the Greater Dublin area, city area, they're up nationally around just over 8%. Large cities, they're around 7.5%. But the largest increase has been in the larger towns outside Dublin. And I suppose one of the main reasons behind that is that the cities, be it Dublin, Galway, Limerick, larger cities are getting so expensive. People are looking at alternatives. So there is a higher demand in the larger towns.
Yeah, and I suppose you saw the price rises in Limerick City and Galway City as well, and they're up at Limerick about 350,000, Galway bordering close to 400, but Clare's kind of steadily getting close to the two of those as well at the same time.
Well, yeah, like the prices in Clare have steadily increased. Now, I do see kind of prices starting to kind of aren't as great as they were last year. So the prices are steadying somewhat, but with the lack of demand versus the um, lack of supply versus the demand that's out there, prices will continue to increase, but maybe not such a higher rate in the future.
And you mentioned the lack of supply there. Is there, there's, I suppose, the prevailing chat in the last little while is there's going to be an exodus of landlords in the rental market due to the new regulations that take effect in the beginning of March.
Yeah, well, I think one of the main factors with the new regulations is it's not enticing investors to stay or to come into the property investment market. And while you might see it'll take various time frames, all depending on the circumstances of the landlord who was given notice, you're not going to see a huge glut of properties on the market in the next few months. I think it's going to be gradually over the next year or so. But what you are seeing a reduction in the number of landlords in the marketplace, and they have not been replaced, which is going to create a major issue going forward.
And as you said, that demand is still there with the figures showing that the half of the properties bought were first time buyers.
Absolutely, and again, it goes back to the rental. While property prices have gone up, with mortgages the way they're structured these days, if somebody can get on the mortgage, the likelihood is they're paying less in a mortgage than they are in rent.
And I suppose you said you're not expecting a big influx over the next couple of months before that March deadline, but is there a forecast of what Q1 might look like for the second hand market in Clare?
At the moment, if you take where Q1 has started, is there's very limited stock available. Just kind of doing a bit of research before I went in town, listed on the main property websites. There's, I think, one three-bedroom townhouse for sale in the Ennis area at the moment. There is hope, expectations that there is a few in the pipeline to come up after the Christmas time. But it's not going to be, I can't see it being a major jump. So I think quarter 1 is going to be slow from a sales point of view. And that's just down to the lack of supply.
And just looking at prices, and I suppose the difference in prices as well, is there's that demand for environmental efficiency now with an ABER rating fetching a 15% higher price than that of a C rating for a property.
They are, but I suppose one of the influencing factors that you find on the A-rated houses is if you're a first-time buyer, you do get your grant of 30,000 up to optimum of 30,000. Yes, second-hand houses which have a higher A rating in the second-hand market, they are attracting strong prices because people are getting more conscious of the energy efficiency of houses going forward, because it will reduce their, I suppose, monthly or year on utility bills and cost of living.
And I suppose is there an element of that as well that it might be a slightly more modern property as well, and it might be more appealing that way.
Oh, 100%. Again, you're buying an A2 rated house, invariably will be done up to an exceptionally high standard and you'd have limited, I suppose, repair work you'd have your standard repair work that you'd have in every house going forward, but it would be a lot less than if it was a second-hand house. However, saying that, the older houses are appealing as well because people can put their own stamp on them. They can do it over time, and it is within their budget.
And I suppose we might just wrap up with going back to that chat a bit on the rental market. You're not exactly seeing a huge jump in that exodus in the next couple of months. It's going to be more sustained over the course of the next year.
Well, I would expect a lot of tenants have got notice to quit over the last number of months, but depending on how long they have been in occupation will dictate when they have to be when they have to vacate the property. Um, the regulations that comply to current leases will continue in the future when they expire. So I do think there's going to be a gradual flow, a gradual exodus from the rental market. But my biggest concern with it, Dara, is that there's not a huge amount of landlords coming back into the marketplace, and I think some form of incentive scheme has to be put in place to retain and attract new investors to the marketplace.
And what would that look like? Because you said that it was nearly one of the first things you said at the outset, that there is no incentive for landlords to stay in the market or new landlords to come into the market.
No, there's not. Like again, somebody invariably most people that have a house, the likelihood is they're on the higher income rate, and they probably hold the property as a private house rather than in a company, and they're paying more than likely in excess of 40% on all rental income coming in. So if you take all your cost of maintaining, insuring the house, RTB registration, etc., generally landlords are losing around 50% of their income. While rental has gone up, they are losing 50%. And is it as attractive as it used to be with the property prices being as high as they are? No, it's not. The return isn't as good as it used to be. And so I do think some form of tax incentive needs to be put in place to retain and attract investors into the market. The other part about it, can you blame investors who bought 10 years ago selling up now? No, you can't.
I suppose just to finally, I suppose you said that before, but to put a bow on it, is there an element of these infrastructural deficits that are there? That's another issue in the fact that there isn't actually anything coming onto the market from any direction.
It's look, there is things coming onto the market, but they are slow, and when they're slow, that increases the demand. And until such a time as and I think this is like most cities or most large urban towns, until the proper infrastructure is in place and planning regulations that does not put restrictions on developments proceeding, it's going to continue going the way it is at the moment.